I think my useless talent would be knowing how to ward off my sleep paralysis demon that visits me.
All right, welcome to Low Tide. We're here today with Mackenzie Johnson, and we just wrapped a Seawall session. Mackenzie, how are we doing?
We are doing fantastic.
It's really warm in here.
It is balmy.
So honestly, how I'm doing is the step before moist. That's where I am.
I agree. I mean, same.
Okay.
Damp?
So I've been trying to get you in for a Seawall session for well over a year now, maybe 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it everything you expected?
It was beyond. It was awesome. No, I love this room. I love you guys. I love Koji over here, keeping us company. And this is just like my favorite kind of thing to do is just sit in a room and sing. Like that's where the songs start. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
you've been doing that for so long. You
Yes.
started posting covers. I mean, I wrote this down. You started posting covers on YouTube. It looks like the earliest video I could find was 14 years ago.
Oh, gosh.
What made you decide to put yourself on the internet like that?
For me, I think it was kind of strangely at that time, like somewhat new to be doing that. And it just made sense. I am just from outside of Philly. And I was like, well, this kind of is the best way for me to reach people. You know what I mean? I can't just like go in my backyard and reach 100 people in the same way I could on the internet. So I was watching people on YouTube, namely people like Kina Grannis and Tyler Ward, like OG YouTube creators. And I was like, well, I could do that, It just made sense to be sort of like putting myself out there. And I just wanted to share, I just wanted like to get the music out.
Do you remember the first video that really took off?
My gosh, that's a great question. It took some time. I had like delusions where I was like, oh, I'll put it up. I'm going to be famous right away. It didn't work that way. I think one of the first ones, I honestly can't remember stuff. Is that crazy? I'm like, which one was it? I think what ended up happening was like once I started reaching like momentum, it was like a few at a time. So I remember, I had a video of the Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga song that kind of became my most popular one on YouTube. It was just sort of like all these things at once. I think an early one was like Treasure by Bruno Mars. Yeah.
And so what did it feel like when strangers started watching your videos? I mean, you're still a teen. You're a child at this point.
Yeah.
Or did it not like hit until like adulthood? Like, was it like a 5-6 year ramp up? Like at what stage were you when you were like, wait?
Yeah. I think it's so funny, actually. Before I had this channel, I had a channel before. And I posted one video and I got one mean comment. I was like, I don't know, 14 or something. And then I deleted the channel. I was like, I can't handle this. And so that was very vulnerable. I just had to like build up my skills, I think, to then feel more comfortable. Like, okay, I'm good at this. So even if people are mean to me, I know how to take it. But definitely a vulnerable feeling. And it takes some time. Like it really takes some time to feel like, I don't know, at least relatively comfortable to be so visible. It was a weird adjustment for sure.
What was your like friends and family's reaction / like how long did it take before your friends or whoever, because was it like you and your friends would actively record these things, or was it more like this was your little secret that you hoped no one at school found out about, and if they did find out, like you'd be embarrassed?
Yeah, you know what? No, I mean, like I was partially shy, but I did really want to be seen and heard. That was my main thing. I'm like, I'm kind of quiet at school, but I'm a singer. Like I do this thing. I'm good at it. At first, I started. Like I'm really rewinding. Started on Facebook, like when I was like 15 or something, like 14 or 15. And I was singing like early Taylor Swift, like Fearless album. So it was sort of like a small thing. I think that was like my baby steps into putting it out onto YouTube. Was like, let me show my friends first and show my family on Facebook and see what they think. And I would like film it with my Mac, like, laptop. And
oh my God, the what was the app? What was the
photo booth?
Photo booth.
Oh yeah. And then I put it like on my pillow, and so then I'd be strumming and it'd be like shaking. It was the production quality definitely rose over the years. So that was my foray into feeling confident enough to put some stuff on the internet.
Well,
yeah.
I'm someone who 15 years ago was personally subscribed to a lot of artists I found on YouTube. So like, especially doing covers, I was in that culture. So I think that there was a bit of a bubble back then when you think of Kurt Hugo Schneider, Sam Sui, Tori Kelly, Kina Grannis, right? So do you remember that bubble and did you take any inspiration from it at the time?
100%. Yeah. I remember that bubble very well. Like, honestly, I remember watching Kina's videos and it was sort of, to me, like peculiar to see this girl in a room with a guitar. Like, that's how early this was. Like, when these people were making these videos, I remember being like, that's strange.
I was early Tori Kelly.
Tori Kelly's awesome.
I was early Tori
You were
Kelly.
early. Wow. So, like, first videos.
I was
early.
like, she was still singing in church early.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew immediately, like some of my, like in my bedroom, I have posters from like her very first tour.
Wow.
I have like I have like backstage photos with her when she was able to do like photos with everyone kind of thing, you know?
Wow.
Playing like shows like Bowery. So yeah.
You're an OG. You're an OG Tori Kelly stan.
I know game. Look, I know ball. And do you think that scene is still just as popping, or is it that we aren't personally embedded in it anymore? Because in my mind, either most of those artists moved up to deals and tours and making the music they wanted,
right,
or we all organically moved away from YouTube to socials instead.
That's a great thing to ponder. I mean, I think there's always going to be some sort of like market for it. But I do feel like so many of us had to evolve from it. And for me, like it started with covers, but my heart really rests in the songs that I write myself. So there was like an awkward sort of like transition where it's like, okay, I'm gonna feature these songs now. So I would sort of slowly but surely post, and the more that I the more followers I had that wanted to hear my covers, the more followers I had that wanted to hear my originals too. So I started kind of, branching out. This ring's gonna be jingling the whole time, so. Anyway, but yeah, I think we all kind of had to make this like adjustment to like TikTok and to short form. So, I think that it was definitely something we all sort of had to do. But for me, at least, I sort of graduated from it personally. You know what I mean? It kind of ran its course and served like that purpose. And I'm so grateful for it because it was really like the bedrock of like everything that I started as a musician,
What's interesting is in that transition, because, we're early. You're a content creator before it's a thing. No, that phrase does not exist yet.
Yeah.
And so it also transitions from a space where on YouTube you have this dedicated community. Even if someone finds you accidentally, they're staying for the video, right?
Yeah.
YouTube is a place where attention is expected.
Yeah.
And now TikTok and Instagram, it's somewhere you have to earn it, right? We're 5 seconds in and you have to stay for the first 5 seconds. I mean, has that affected has there been a switch in your brain at all about, I don't know. There's something to it, definitely.
Totally. There's definitely been a switch. The sort of longer form content, like a full song, people would be staying for that full song. And again, it's not to say that doesn't happen, but so many of us, and myself included, like I'm definitely like guilty of being a big sort of TikTok consumer.
I just watched you on the couch pull up the Seawall Sessions Instagram.
Yes.
And flip through 17 videos, didn't stay for more than a second for any of them. And I had to be like, Mackenzie.
You're like, I was getting into that song.
So Mackenzie, you're not going to play my videos in front of me and not listen to any of them.
Gosh. I was just trying to get a vibe for what I was in for today. Trust me. No, but it's fair call out. I feel like that's affected us all, like whether we're creating or we're consuming, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that I've had to like switch certain things on as a creator to sort of try to capture people's attentions more so than I ever really was like thinking about when I was actively doing YouTube videos, So it's even affecting like the creative process, I think, for people where they're like, well, we really got to capture people within the first 2 seconds of this full-fledged production, and it should be under 3 minutes. And it's sort of, I think, sometimes doing a disservice to,
of course,
creation. You know what I mean? Like we want to like honor a song and let live the life it wants to live. But I've been in sessions where people are like, well, it's getting close to 4 minutes and we've got our parent. I'm like, but what if it wants to be 4 minutes?
What would Leonard Skinner say?
Right? Yeah.
And so if you were starting today instead of 2010, do you think you'd do anything differently? What would you do differently?
It would definitely be short form centric, I think, like right off the bat, no question about it. But I'd like to think that like the craft of song is still like baked into me, no matter if we're just starting now or like exactly where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's just so ever evolving. Like every other day, we have like shifting algorithms that like, I don't know, I see some like burnout and exhaustion in some of my friends. But it is sort of like something we have to adapt to in some capacity or another. So yeah, I think I just love being a songwriter too much to not make that the forefront. You know what I mean? Like that's always the basis of everything I do. Yeah.
Do you feel like people watched you grow up in a sense?
I think so. I definitely do. I remember specifically, I had a cover of the Lumineer song "Ho Hey."
Who didn't?
The cup song. I had the cup song.
Of course.
I can't believe it. I remember getting a comment from someone, and they were like, "I remember when you did that little cringy video." They were being sweet. They're like, "You did that little cringy video of Ho Hey, and you were so cute, and it was so good, but it was like." Just me in my room, just being like silly and, splicing clips together. And, I think people really saw me evolve, like, as a creator. I had to learn, like, we were just talking about this, just kind of like adapting and like
I heard Cringe is back, though. I heard we're like embracing it now.
I think we should.
Yeah, Cringe is back.
Cringe is back, baby.
And it's character building.
Yes.
Remember like when Jennifer Lawrence was like at her peak because she was cringe and people were like, she's endearing.
What is cringe really, though? Because it's like really an objective thing. Like, is that trying? You know what I mean? Because if you're trying, that means you're doing something.
It's so sad.
You know what I mean?
Is
like,
cringe just try?
Right?
We do. This is going to be a whole side tangent, but we do as a culture.
Yeah.
Reward not trying. We reward you think about dating apps.
Yeah.
You think about looking too invested in anything.
Yeah.
Is not cool.
Right.
We reward the act of not giving something 100% in case you fail. That's perceived as more like socially acceptable and approachable now, which is a very strange thing.
I totally agree. I think like it's vulnerable to put yourself out there in any capacity. So I applaud anyone that does it, because even sometimes I find myself going like, what am I doing? Like, especially if I'm on a stage and I'm like, I'm bearing my soul to this group of people right now, that, these songs that I've penned in my room that are like my innermost feelings. But I'm like, hey, like those very people that are going to criticize you, granted, like once you put yourself out there, that's what you open yourself up to. So it's par for the course. But like, it's just like, hey, but I'm trying. I'm up here and I'm living. And I feel like, we all have our own like definitions of what cringe are.
There's two communities that come to my mind that live that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And that do not give a shit about cringe.
Yeah.
And that is the theater community and that is the cosplay community.
Period.
And there's something though where like, yes, you get on stage, you bear your soul on stage.
Yeah.
Any other theater person in that theater with you will be like, yes, that was it.
Gassing you up.
Right. And there, I don't know. It's interesting though, but because there's so much crossover, like these are all Venn diagrams, right?
Yeah.
But if you get into like, I don't know, a traditional music scene, it might be, especially I think there's a wave with certain bands now. I think of like Geese or Mickey or any of that like alt space where it's cool. Like the aesthetic of Instagram is to not have an aesthetic. The aesthetic of your videos is to be lo-fi, VHS, shitty. Everything's kind of underexposed. No one can really hear you actually.
Yeah, it's a little muffled.
Right. You didn't shower before you came here. But that's there's like a wave of that now.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know how I got here.
No, but I know what you're saying, though, because even that, though, like, if we want to really go down this rabbit hole, it feels like that is inherently cringe because in the act of not trying to be cringe, you're trying to do something.
Yes, you're trying too hard.
Do whatever the hell you want to do and stop. Like, stop just worrying so much. I mean, I feel like it could be like as I get older, I realize that. I'm like, I settle more into who I am. And the more aligned with that I am, the less I'm concerned with how people are perceiving me, much less than I was when I was much younger, at the peak of my YouTube days, like I was really hyper fixated on that, reading every comment, which is awesome on one hand, but there's always that like sore thumb that sticks out that's like, that wasn't very nice. But like when you feel solid within yourself and your vision and who you are, then I think that kind of criticism, if you even want to call it that, is shielded more, So it's kind of tricky out there. I think everyone should just be, put yourself out there in whatever form that is. We're always evolving. Cringe.
So talking about that identity and just being.
Yeah.
You're someone who really leans into Halloween, not just as a holiday, but almost as an identity. And where do you think that started for you?
Yeah. Ooh. Well, I thought about this a lot. I think it's strangely kind of genetic because my dad, he's a big horror guy. He's like the sweetest, gentlest human being in the world.
They're always like
sweetest.
That.
I read like he's just like at his core, I feel like he's kind of goth, but you would never know, So I think he kind of passed down that love for spooky stuff. Like he loved classic Universal horror monster movies. And we would like bond over that. And I think that sort of set off this spooky sensibility within me. And then, over the years, it was another form of like artistic expression was like makeup and transforming myself into monsters and characters, almost like a cosplay, like, not quite there. I usually kind of save it for the holiday. But yeah, and I feel like also like that all permeates into my music because I like to explore like the dark, shadowy sides of myself a little bit more and feel like I can expose that a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, my next question was, are there visuals or aesthetics that feel really tied to your identity as an artist that come from that?
I would say in general, probably anything that airs on the witchy side. And I don't want to say that's new. It's just like it's always been there. I think I've just embraced it a lot more, like in the past few years. So I have this tune, The Sisterhood, that I played today for you guys. And it's a song that I'm so proud of. And I think it's just a great representation of like that inner witch coming out. And yeah, so I feel like in that world of kind of dark femininity in a sense, is sort of where I live. That's like really the closest reflection you're gonna get of like my soul.
You're stealing some of my questions here, but The Sisterhood is your most streamed song. But what do you think people are connecting to in that track? Why is that your most streamed song? Have you ever thought about, is it more than just the melody? Is there something to it?
Oh yes, definitely. It's funny because like when I think about writing that song, I didn't realize what I was writing, which is something that I'm sure a lot of folks that like come to this podcast say, is it's sort of like this outside of yourself thing where you almost like receive a download or something and you're like, okay, here now my hand is moving and making the song. And so when I like pulled back from it, I was like, wait a second, this isn't just like a spooky Halloween ode to the Sanderson sisters, and the Salem witch trials. It's really about women, really, and like this connection that we have to each other. And I think that there's just something that we're like craving, especially in a patriarchal world where we want to feel like empowered within our own femininity and not have that tamped down in any way. So I think it spoke to women or femme people, like people that really vibe with that whole thing. And it felt like, wait a second, like it's igniting something that was so much deeper than just like a Halloween track. And that was, I think, the most illuminating thing about the Sisterhood for me. It was like, whoa, I think I did something cool. Like, I think I made something that's really resonating like on a deeper level
You're
than I realized.
You're so eloquent that I'm going to read you my next 3 questions, and you're going to see that you answered all of them.
Oh my God, stop.
So that song is very tied to dark feminine energy, almost like a collective identity. When you were writing it, did you know it was going to resonate the way it has? Do you think that song represents you as an artist, or does it feel like piece of a bigger picture?
Yeah.
You know, so you're like hitting all these spots
I'm a
in real
witch.
time. Yeah. Well, and so you recently played the Philly Loves Lilith Festival, which is rooted in this whole legacy of Lilith Fair and amplifying women's voices.
Yeah.
Hearing about that festival and then thinking about a song like the Sisterhood, it feels like there's a through line here. Do you feel like you're part of that lineage in any way?
I think so. I feel like every female songwriter is that, like, feels connected to that. You know, I'm also a 90s baby, so that music is what I was, raised on. So Sarah McLachlan, and I played like a Dido song and a Fiona Apple song. And I mean, just like, yeah, it all is very tied in. And also the history of Lilith herself, there's this darkness. So
I date a pagan, so I know. And Lilith is like her goddess. So
That's her.
I know.
So you know
we've
a lot.
actually, this was like one of the first conversations we had, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was like, she's going to resonate with your music.
Aw.
Like really strongly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like, again, it goes back to that like shadowy thing. There's something magical inherently about making music. And again, sort of being like a vessel, to whatever it is you need to like channel. I know it sounds woo-woo. We're going to get a little woo-woo today.
It's my life.
It's
my life.
You're dating a woo-woo lady, so, you get it. I think that I definitely feel like I stand on the shoulders of those women that like were pioneering these kinds of festivals and this kind of expression of rage. That's a huge part of like my songwriting.
It's such a huge part of feminine energy 100%. Is rage.
Yeah.
And like it's the most like suppressed, other than sexuality.
Right. Yeah.
Rage and sexuality are really the strongest and the most suppressed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Perfectly said. That's exactly what I feel. And I feel like when you have a safe space to just sort of like sit in that. And like I saw Alanis Morissette say something about, Jagged Little Pill, and she was like asked like something along the lines of like, you seem angry, like who hurt you? And she's like, it's not a matter of like getting revenge on whoever this was that did this. It's just a matter of getting it out of my body so it doesn't make me sick. And I just like have never related to anything more. It's like, I'm not trying to be a vengeful person. I just carry, experiences. I also feel like I carry like generational experiences, and like people may call it a witch wound or whatever. There's some connectivity to just like generations of women that have been, systematically sort of displaced. And when you see like how your mothers or grandmothers are mistreated, or women in the music industry, you're like, wow, like Heart, the girls from Heart who are just world-class musicians. It was just a boys' club that they were fighting, but they were like so incredible and had to just fight through things that like I'll never have to worry about. But I feel it, and I feel grateful. Like I feel this gratitude. So it's all, that's a long-winded way of being like, I definitely feel connected to the lineage of Lilith Fair.
Yeah. Oh, was that the question?
The Doc Martens.
I forgot the original question. You are someone who's so vocal and uses their platform about a lot of injustices. And I've personally reached out to you so many times when I've seen you write these songs that are like what I need to hear right now.
Aww.
And but what's interesting is you don't necessarily do like rage is so different for different people. It's not screaming, it's not kicking the ground, it's not stomping your boots, right?
Right.
And your songs are still uniquely you and still uniquely in this like, I don't know, folk, dreamy, alt pop space almost, but with these stinging guttural lyrics. And I really appreciate that because there's a space for that too. There's a space for when you need to feel the anger, you need to feel the catharsis, but you don't necessarily need to scream about it.
Sure.
You're grocery shopping. Yeah. You're grocery shopping and you need to like...
This is a Wendy's.
Yes. Hello?
Hello?
And And so when you think about songs like the Sisterhood, do you ever think about, are you actively trying to build a community or an audience or a specific type of audience? Or is it just something that has found you organically? Like, because what does that kind of community actually look like to you in real life?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like I've learned to just sort of be and channel whatever it is like I feel necessary to channel. And then, you know, whoever resonates with that, like as they say, your vibe attracts your tribe, you know? And you know, it was amazing to see this sort of, I didn't really mean to like summon like the witches of the world in a way, but it's like the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened. It's just this like empowerment. I see, you know, people coming to me and saying like, we do women's circles and like I play this song all the time, or I play this nonstop during Halloween, or like when I need a pick me up. So yeah, I feel like it was sort of this unintentional attracting of that kind of energy, but it's like, you know, this beautiful, like, happy accident. Of course, we want people to be drawn to our music. And of course, I'm building, you know, an audience of like-minded people that are going to get it. So as long as I...
So let me rephrase it.
Sure.
What kind of community do you hope gathers around your music in 5 to 10 years?
Oh, I feel like I want a community that feels really safe. So whether it's queer people, women, you know, indigenous people, like you were saying earlier, which was really sweet about the little ditties I write, like my little political ditties, if you will. Just people that feel like they can seek refuge and feel safe in my work, and just feel like connected and can resonate with just the humanity of what I talk about. It's like sometimes I even find like the more specific I get, the more people resonate, you know? So I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, I'd love an audience that just, again, just sort of like fits that. Like it doesn't have to just be witches. I can see how that can be sort of like pigeonholing things. Like I also write about my own human experiences and relationships, and I love pop. I produce out full-fledged pop music. So people that love pop, but then love, you know, a simple guitar and a pretty melody, you know, and some pretty lyrics, like, you know, I think that's what I want to draw in. A meaningful hook, you know, people that appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to like live on the Sisterhood, because to bounce right off that, Fever Dream is completely different.
Yeah.
And gorgeous. Like listening to you perform Fever Dream today was absolutely, I was like, that was a vocal masterclass. And actually a really interesting study in restraint too, because I feel like you really pull out all the stops vocally live, where you restrain more on the studio version, which is interesting because you don't necessarily like hit all these runs on the studio version, but live you're like, I know I can, so I'm gonna do it. So it was both like a vocal masterclass because you were so at ease and you did it time after time. But yeah, Michael commented like you have almost a hint of like Tori Amos in it, which, as you said, you're a 90s baby, and you referenced so many other artists that are of that generation with Tori Amos.
Yeah.
It's this like whimsical alt folk pop with a little country twang. But it's light, it's airy, you know, it's interesting.
Thanks.
And so I don't think you're pigeonholed at all. I think Fever Dream is so different from the Sisterhood, and it shows such range.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely have like a duality of my personality. Like the things that I like to like decorate my home with and like my person with, it's either like all dark or it's like cutesy. You know, it's like, that's a cute duck. Like, you know.
Yeah. You're both
or there's
sides,
a skull. You know?
You're both sides of the room in the Wednesday TV show.
Oh my gosh.
You're both. Well, you're just a schizophrenic, and both sides are you, and you cross over the line.
That's me. Listen, I contain multitudes, I suppose. Totally. I feel like that was like, I want to make sure that like people can feel safe, like I said, and wanting to like express those darker sides of who they are, but also the whimsical side of who they are, because I'm a big goofball in real life, and I'm really someone that like wants that softness and airiness, and like I'm an Aquarius, and a lot of times we're like known to be aloof and serious, and we don't like to talk about love, but I'm really a big softie at heart. We're good at like covering, but I love to explore that side through song, through fever dream, like reminiscing about love and loss and things like that. So Koji sounds.
Yeah, she's like making herself announced. She's
Well.
like huffing and puffing. Well, that's perfect because I was just going to say that all feels very meaningful. And so I'd love to pivot us into something a little more chaotic and fun to close us out.
Let's do it.
So we're going to do a speed round. We're going to start off a little silly. Okay. Then we're going to get a little harder. So first artist you were obsessed with.
Taylor Swift.
Current artist you're obsessed with.
Oh. Casey Musgraves.
Oh. What is your most useless talent?
Oh my gosh. That's a really good question. I feel so ill-prepared. Wait, let's get back to that one. I got to think about that.
Okay. Well, the next one is if you had to give a TED Talk with no preparation, what would it be about? Skipping questions.
Probably my obsession with a really weird movie called Troll 2. I could tell you all about that. It's from the 80s, like 1989 or 1990. And it was this really strange B movie that has a crazy backstory that I could totally do a whole TED Talk about. So...
Okay.
Troll 2. Ask me about Troll 2 anytime.
What is something you believed as a kid that turned out to be completely wrong?
Oh, religion. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes. Yes. What is a hill you will die on?
A hill that I will die on. Oh my gosh, Steph, I feel.
Michael hates that.
That's, oh, sorry, Michael. Oh my gosh, a hill that I will die. I'm not good at this.
Would you like to pivot back to your most useless talent?
Yeah.
I'll give you an escape card.
Yeah, wait, now I have to think about my most useless talent.
You have 5 seconds. Pick one.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm bad at this. I lose.
Okay. Halloween theme speed round.
Sorry.
Halloween theme speed round. If you had to haunt one place forever, where would you haunt?
Oh, where would I haunt? Probably maybe like my ex's house or something. I don't know. Next.
Wait, which ex, or will the one watching know? They'll know. If you had to survive a zombie apocalypse with one musician, who would it be?
Oh, with one musician, I'm trying to think who has like fighting skills or like someone who's, I don't know. I feel like Alanis Morissette. I know I mentioned her before, but I just feel like we would get along and make a good pair. I don't know.
Young
like,
Alanis Morissette or today's Alanis
today.
Morissette? Okay,
She's even
sick.
She's even more, you know.
How's her
seasoned.
cardio today? She's in her 50s, right?
She's still
You think
killing
she's
it.
good?
Okay.
Do you think you would be the first person to die in a horror movie or the last girl?
Oh my gosh, I often think about that because like when scary things happen to me, I wrote a whole song about it, about being the final girl.
Which one is it?
I don't have it out yet, but
Okay.
it'll be out. Sometimes I question that. I like to think that I'm the final girl, but sometimes like in a moment of real like fear, I'm like, oh my God, I'm chickening out. I'm dying first. So I think I might not be the last one standing.
What is something that irrationally scares you?
Irrationally scares me.
This is where people are like pennies or mayonnaise or
Ooh.
do you have anything?
That's a great question. I mean, I think this is rational, but like I'm a scaredy cat about spiders, like anything with too many legs.
I knew it. Something in me was like, she's
Oh,
going to say spiders.
Guess what? The dark. That's even better. I'm afraid of the dark. And
you're not.
Yeah, I am. I need a nightlight.
How dark?
Pitch black, or like when it's so dark that like the sweatshirt in the corner is becoming a demon.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really like surprisingly people are like, you're afraid of the dark. I'm like, I gotta have a nightlight.
Right. Mackenzie, thanks for being here
Thank
and
you for
spending
having
time
me,
with us.
Steph.
If you want to hear more from Mackenzie, her performances are up on the Seawall Sessions YouTube, and we'll have links to all her socials so you can stay in the loop on shows and new music. Mackenzie, let the people know what you have coming up.
So I have lots of new music on deck, some spooky surprises for spooky season, so please stay tuned. I have a song that I, at this point, have recorded, and it will be out on all of the things. It's called Laundromat Soda, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, tons of new music in this this coming year. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. This has been Low Tide at Seawall.
Thank you.
This is the part
for
where you
having
can
me.
just wave at whichever camera you want. Oh, wait, yeah, useless talent.
Wait, I really struggle with that. Let me think about it.
I did. I let you think about it. What do you mean? You gonna write me a letter?
I think I am. I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night, and be like, oh, that's what it is.
Okay, text me, and then I'll put it as a graphic over the video.
I could say my useless talent. I think I figured it out. I think my useless talent would be knowing how to ward off my sleep paralysis demon that visits me. So I don't think that's going to help like anyone else, but I know how to be like rationalizing and going like, okay, you're not real. Goodbye. So anyway, that's that.
This has been Low Tide at Seawall.